Welcome back to Shop Talk. Last week we talked about hand sanding and its importance to make wood ultra smooth. And now this week we're going to talk about putting finishes on. We can't use shellac or lacquer because we do not have a proper finishing room and it's just too much dust. So we're going to go to oils. That's all we use. Most schools, in fact, do not put any sort of finish on because it is expensive. But I think it looks nice with a finish, and so we do it at Rock Heights. So the first type of finish we're going to put on is using the Butcher Block oil, and this is for a cutting board, and it's pretty straightforward, very similar to what we did last week with water, except for we're using oil. So the first thing we should do is make sure that we have the proper tools, materials, application available. So we're going to start off just getting a nice white rag, and it should be white, because if it's red or green, that dye will go into your project. So we don't want the dye to go into our project. You should also have another rag, and this one here has been washed so many times that it's just perfect for wiping off the oil. And so that's perfect. And before we even get started, we have to have a brush. Like we did last week, we have to make sure that it's absolutely dust-free. So all we're doing is just cleaning the cutting board. That's what we're going to apply it on, is a cutting board. And we sanded it last week, and this is an old one. It's still got some scratches on it. It's been in my family probably for about 15 years, and we're just making it so that it's going to be food safe. And you should do this about every 2 weeks, is apply Butcher Block on, or just mineral oil. Mineral is okay. Okay, the next thing what we want to do is just realize that the reason why we're putting any sort of finish on here is to protect it from the ultraviolet rays, to protect it from dust, and also make sure the wood doesn't swell. You know, if it's really dry, then moisture can get in and it can swell, or if it leaves and gets very dry, obviously you can have cracks in it. So we want to keep it moist as much as possible. So this is our mineral oil. A fancy word here from Watco is it's a Butcher Block, but it's the same material. This is probably a little bit more expensive. A little trick that you could do is you can take off the lid, and you can take a sharp pointy thing like a pair of scissors, and you can put a little hole. Now the reason for that is that when you pour it out, a big splash of mineral oil doesn't go all over the place. It is very expensive, and so you have more control of the pour. So I am pouring it on my board, making an S shape, and I might have to put another coat on, put the lid back on, very important. And then I take my cloth, I like to fold it into, have it maybe 4 times, and then I take the corner and I do little circles. And as I do the little circles, I'm really grinding it into the pores of the wood. I'm using maple, and that's just a beautiful hard wood to use. It's probably the most popular. And we just keep on going all the way down. I do have one upstairs that's made of bamboo, and I really like that as well. It's a very, very hard type of wood. And we just keep on going, and we get it nice and soaked in. And then I always, just because of habit, nice long strokes to finish it off. Go right to the edges. And now, with the magic of video, we undo the rag, we place it down so no spontaneous combustion can happen, and we just let it dry for the next person. And we just wait about 10 minutes. The second coat, same sort of thing. We're going to be using the Butcher Block mineral oil, and we're going to put a nice little S again on here. It recommends, if you read the label, that you put a little squiggly little line on there like an S. And again, you fold up your same cloth, do the little circles. We waited 10 minutes for it to dry the first time. The second time they say about 20 minutes, because you want it to really soak into that wood. And you do the same application if you are going to put, like say you've already bought a board, you've had it for a while. Another little trick that they have is you can take a lemon, cut the lemon in half, and after you've done it, just like Mr. Green has with 2 coats, you take the lemon and you go back and forth on your project, and then you can let it sit for about 20 minutes, and you get the nice smell of lemon. And it does make a difference. I like lemon. I like lemon with Pledge as well when I spray Pledge on projects to make it nice and shiny. Okay, let's wait 20 minutes. Okay, the 20 minutes are up. I've already cleaned it with a nice soft cloth, and make sure that you really rub it in because you don't want it to be left sticky. If you do, you'll come back next day to be going, oh, it's tacky. Doesn't seem good. If that does happen, just apply another coat. It kind of melts the previous coat, and really rub it and make sure that you get it as dry as possible. That is a mineral finish, and again, 2 weeks you can do another finish. I always apply it on one side and I apply it on the other side so I don't have to do it too often. Okay, getting to Mr. Green's Watka oil. Watka oil has been around, 40 years ago when I was at Central Junior High, we were using Watka oil. Teachers use it. Again, I've said because of the dust in the room, we don't have a proper finishing room. So the real sticky finishes like a shellac or lacquer, we can't use because they just stick right to the sawdust that is being applied, and it's a mess. So students do like to have a little bit of a glossy finish, and so I find that if you put on between 2 and 3 coats of the Watka oil and really rub it each time that you put it on, it comes out pretty shiny, like a satin finish. It won't be gloss, but it'll be satin. And then if you want to take some beeswax and rub it with some beeswax at home, or take a wood pledge, and spray some on in about a week's time, well then fantastic, it'll come out just maybe a little bit shinier. And again, you're protecting it from all the elements, especially probably at this point, spillage. Okay, now stay tuned for some written comments that I've put down on safety and how important safety is with finishing. A lot of people think they can just apply it on and walk away. No, there's a lot more to it. You don't want to cause a fire in your garage or at school. You want to make it safe. So stay safe, read the safety questions, and we'll catch you in a week.